Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of Midweek Matters. I'm James Graham, your host as always, joined by a rather sleepy Charlie White.
Yeah, I've just woken up in time for this podcast, thankfully.
Delayed onset.
Yeah, sort of
jet lag.
Just jet lag. Jet lag hit me. So I played basketball last night at like 9:10. So it was the late game in the little pickup league. And then just struggled to get to sleep. So I went to bed at 2 a.m. But I had like a 7 a.m. alarm. And I don't know what's happened. But then I've rolled over this morning. It's 12 o'clock on my phone. I've missed a couple of meetings. So I'm running a bit behind.
No wonder this podcast is going down the pan.
Yeah. I'm sort of a bit confused about what we're talking about. But you can't sleep until midday as an adult, really. That's not acceptable. Jet lag's a fair excuse. It's not like it's a common thing.
Do you reckon you put the 7 p.m.?
No. I must have just, you know how you can sometimes be awake but be asleep at the same time? I must have, in my half-sleep state, turned off the alarm. I don't know
how you can be asleep and awake at the same time.
You never been awake, but you don't remember being awake?
I feel like I'm in a dream now.
You could be in a dream now. We actually don't know.
No, we don't.
I had a near-death experience.
Don't be starting talking about that.
But I did have a near-death experience once, and then for months after, I wasn't sure if I was dead or alive, and if this was the real world or not.
What happened?
I was turning out of a lane, and like a car should have hit me, but it didn't. But I was like, how did it not hit me? Probably did hit me. I'm dead. This isn't real. Maybe that's still the case. You know, you don't know.
Maybe you're in purgatory, and quality episodes of the Buy Round can get you into heaven or not so quality.
Or hell.
You go to hell. This is like God's test.
How's this starting though? I'm on my way to hell, probably, aren't I? Sleeping into midday.
Maybe it's all going to come to your Rockbusters.
Oh well, I'm not going to take credit for Rockbusters this week because Matt Vorton, who's actually Fatty Vorton's son, is a listener of the show, and he sent us an email during the week which I forwarded on to you. However, he had a Rockbuster in there, which I deleted from the email because I didn't want you to see that.
Yeah, he's a big Pilkington Gervais fan as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the same as you. Falls asleep to the old XFM stuff, which is fantastic. But his Rockbuster, Jimmy.
Okay.
This is the one that you and the listeners are going to share. So same as you last week. And I mean, if you get it right, we'll beat what you say. But the head of that university is also a sailor. The head of that university is also a sailor. I like it.
Can I have a guess?
Yeah.
Is it?
It is. It is correct. Well done. Well done. So that's going to be beeped for you at home.
Yes.
And good luck and another Buy Round t-shirt for grabs.
Look,
you've thought about that one before, have
you? No, I haven't actually, but I like where it went. I've got, you know what, I forgot. I've got like a page in my notes on my phone for like all different Rockbusters.
Yeah.
And I've still got like 4 or 5, but then I've got some that I've got a list of about 8, and I think I've done some.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, shit, I should really, once I've done it, be a bit more on top of it and delete it. I'm like, oh, that's really good. I've not done that. Oh, that's how I'd shape it.
That's like some extra prep you've done that you didn't realise.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about your one last week, the Payne Haas one.
Oh yeah, we've not announced it. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. By the way. Yes, last week's clue was the Jamaican biologist or the Jamaican biology teacher is explaining the male genitalia. Yeah. Or is pointing out? Is
always labeling.
Is labeling.
The Jamaican biologist the Jamaican biology teacher is labeling the male genitalia. So they would go, Payne Haas.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't your best. It wasn't your best one. 2 people actually got it, unbelievably.
Yeah, well done to those people.
I messaged the guy on Instagram who won.
Payne Haas. You'd say that if you were Jamaican, wouldn't you?
Well, actually, I think a couple of other people guessed a better answer to that one, which was Willie Mason. Willie, my son.
No.
No?
No.
No?
Not having it.
Okay, all right.
No. Anyway, I mean,
what's been happening?
There's some better Rockbusters around the corner that I've got. I've got some crackers.
Yeah, well, that one, if you got it that quickly, I'm sure a lot of the listeners will get this one. But it's been a big week, obviously. We had the Todd Carney episode come out on Sunday. And just a massive thank you again to him because he spoke so well. He's obviously gone through some really tough times, so to come out and be so honest about it was really brave, and I hope people got a lot out of it because it was very powerful.
The response has been absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate Todd's upfront honesty. And also, you know, with rugby league, we talk about role models. Well, a lot of people aren't in that position young and growing up where, you know, it's a red carpet through life and they always make the right decisions. Some of that is part of being young. Some of it is the environments that they're in. But what Todd's shown is, despite these setbacks, you can still, it's never too late to do something good and do something positive. And I remember when we were sat recording that particular episode, and it happens quite a lot where you're like, I think this is going really well, and then it finishes, and then I speak to you and you're like, wow. I was like, yeah, that was amazing. And what a story he's had. And you know what, we barely scratched the surface with with the football side of things. Like, it was more about the
and that wasn't planned as well. It just kind of, it worked
just
out
sort of
that
organically
way.
happened that way, didn't it? Like, I did have a few, because he won a Dally M. People forget he won a Dally M.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't just this bad boy that was, you know, a larrikin. The boy could play. But
and I think he alluded to that though when he said that was a year where he was completely sober. He won the Dally M, so he's aware that, like, kind of, well, what could have been on the field type thing. Yeah,
but it's quality, that wake up moment, and that I'm going to do something positive, and you know, that is going to ripple out to others as well. So,
and he's one of the lucky ones as well who's gone through struggles like this and coming out the other side, because a lot of people don't. You know, I mean, even like growing up when I went to school, you know, a lot of people doing the same things, but then some people go crazy, lose their mind. Some people go from just drinking alcohol into much more serious stuff, and you know, so good that he's come at the other side. But then, Jimmy, in terms of rugby league, the Panthers, they're trying to keep hold of Jarome Luai. They've upped the offer slightly, extra $50K per year, so it'll be an $850,000 per year deal. Only 2 years in length though, at $1.7 million. He's probably going to get, as we said, well over $1 million on the open market. The Panthers, would that make much of a difference, upping that little extra bit of money?
Yeah, look, $50,000 a year in this perspective isn't that great a leap. But I don't know for Jarome if this next deal is about finances necessarily. I think it'd be more of an opportunity to create his own legacy and get paid really, really well, because he's gonna, like, that's still good money. But if he goes to a club where he's the marquee player, you get marquee money, but you also get marquee responsibility. And I think that would be playing. That would be at the forefront of his mind. Is, can I go and be this marquee player and get marquee responsibility? That's where his head is at. Also, or where I imagine his head would be at. Also, he's probably got to look at, you know, some of the cases that certain players have left Penrith and what they've become, or the situations that they're in. Like, well, you know, you look at Kate Capel, he's moved and he's done pretty well at Brisbane. But then there's some others that currently aren't going as well as maybe you could argue if they'd have stayed. A couple of lads at the Bulldogs, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be fixated in that position. That, you know, the trajectory is on the up there. It's not, or you look at like a Nappy Coruscant that, you know, went from premierships to wooden spoon. So that there is always a risk in that, but there's also a huge opportunity for Jarome to, you know, really cement his legacy and be talked about in the upper echelon of, you know, NRL players.
What would you do if you were in his position? Because I look at that 2-year deal and I go, oh, well, in 2 years' time, I'm probably still going to get $1 million if I hit the open market.
Yeah.
So why don't I just do these 2 more years? Maybe I can get another 2 premierships and then I'll do this. And he's still very young. I think we forget how young Jarome Luai is.
Yeah.
He's still very young. He's in a different part of his career than guys like Kurt Capewell and Api Coruscant were. They're looking towards their sort of last long-term deals, last high-paid deals. I could see him staying.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's a 2-year offer.
Maybe that's their pitch.
That's their pitch
Yeah.
to go and get your big deal in 2 years. Yeah, maybe.
What would you do?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, he's been successful there, I guess. He still seems motivated to be successful, but then that lure of a new challenge to prove yourself all over again to another set of players, another set of fans, another set of coaches, that could turn his head. And yeah, that it'd be that challenge, because the easy thing, I use these words, in context. The easy thing to do is to stay. The hard thing to do, and despite it being more financially rewarding, is to go on and take on a number 7 jersey and, like, say, marquee responsibility at another football club. But mate, what a position for that young man to be in. Like, how good's that? Like, like, he's earned that as well. He's in this position where there's no right or wrong decision, and very few people know what it's like to be in that position. And it's a very privileged position that Jarome has earned, and he'll have many considerations, some that we know about and some that we don't as well. But it's going to be a big call for the young 5'8", and obviously November the 1st is within a week, so he could literally be signed, sealed, and delivered somewhere else next time on Midweek Matters.
The only annoying thing about this whole November 1 system, which I'd love to see, it's not going to get changed because the CBA has been signed, 5-year deal, but it's such a boring setup and it's such a stupid setup, the November 1 thing, signing a year out. Like, we could be having this amazing transfer trade window going on right now where all these different players could be moving. We could, a free agency frenzy where the NRL is then at the front of the storylines. Because, I mean, we're talking about this now at the top of the show, but it's not really something that's going to happen for a long time.
No.
So,
Charlie, I agree with you, mate. And as a player, I was dead against it. I thought the more rights to the player, the better. And I know, Charlie, look, I thought this is a player that I needed. You needed that security, being able to sign up until being a free agent at this point.
But you are athletes, and part of your job is moving around and playing in different cities.
I know, Charlie, but I was...
And the NRL players are privileged already because there's 9 Sydney clubs.
Trust me.
There's not 9,
I know, but and I've changed my mind on it now, but when you're in that player's bubble, it's hard to see the wood for the trees. It really is. And you're like, no, we need this current system. We can't wait until the end of this. Once if we get injured, okay. But
because imagine we had this off-season window and then we had a mid-season window as well. It's just it's so much better for content. For podcasts.
I agree. Well, you imagine the internationals finish, and then it's like, okay, well, we're on.
Yeah.
Or it supplements the international. International.
Yeah, well, it would bring in more in a funny way. It will bring in more interest in the international because people are talking about footy more. They're engaged with footy more.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The other player movement thing that I actually said last week, I'd love to see Melbourne try and offload Ryan Papenhuyzen, and then it turns out they might actually be trying to do that. Danny Widler reported, it came out on Sunday, that he's been shopped by a third party on behalf of the Storm to at least one Sydney club. I mean, we can speculate which Sydney club that is because there's only a couple that need a fullback, Dragons being one of them. You could say the Dogs maybe, but they've kind of got Stephen Crichton there now. Roosters aren't going to need a fullback. Rabbitohs aren't going to need a fullback. I suspect that club might be the Dragons because even the Tigers don't need a fullback. They've got Jarome Buller locked in long term. So
I think the Storm would be mad to let him go after all the work that they've put into him.
But it must just be the raps they have on Fa'alongo.
Yeah, I know, but Fa'alongo, look, obviously a really exciting young up-and-coming player. he's very limited in what he's produced in first team. I think maybe he'll be that 14 style player for Melbourne next season, and he'll fill in. But I don't know. And look, again, I could be wrong, but the way Melbourne have usually done it is this way. It's not just like bang on a throw in Farlongo to be our number one.
The other thing is, though, Nick Meaney did a good job for them there this year. They might think Meaney can take the first 10 to 15 rounds, and then maybe Farlongo's ready towards the end of the year.
Mate, I just think they've put so
much
into Papenhuyzen. The only way that the only logical rationale for it would be, Charlie, is if they go, we've got too much money tied up in our spine. Like their middle four, they need reinforcements in the middle, and if they assess it and go, well, Grant, Munster, Hughes, and Papenhuyzen, they're chewing up far too much of the salary cap. We need to allocate some of those funds to middle forwards. Okay, well, Papenhuyzen, the logical replacement is Farlongo, who's on a small contract. Let's take him out of the salary cap equation, and then we can bring in some reinforcements in the middle.
Because they probably do need that. Their salary cap is a bit out of balance, you would say, because even in their forward pack, then they'd have Big Nelson will be on big money, and Welsh would be on big money. The rest of their forwards would be fairly cheap. So they probably want to try and get some of that money into their forwards. Having said that, Frank Panisi, the Storm head of football, has vehemently denied this. And I think Danny Weidler and Frank Panisi have had a falling out over this story. So it may not be true, or maybe because he's so angry that's a sign that it is true. How on earth did this get out? Yeah. But so you think the salary cap management...
for me, that's the only way that I reckon they'd let Ryan Papenhuyzen go.
Yeah, right.
Is if they're looking at trying to allocate some funds into other areas. But this model of salary cap, now lots of clubs do it different ways. Some of them don't even have a model. They just sort of maneuver and react based on what's available. But they seem to have that model of heavy spine investment, a couple of big name forwards, or investment in maybe two forwards in particular, and then the rest that sort of really lower end, because it's obviously got to balance out. So that's the only way I could see this transpiring.
They've done well finding some of those lower end guys. Like Eliesa Katoa was a good signing for them. He was great last year. Josh King's been really good since coming from Newcastle.
We're going to take a quick break from this podcast to talk to you about AG1. Now, this is a foundational nutritional supplement that I take every single day. There's a lot of stress, a lot of noise around there. Nobody knows what exact supplements to take. A whole cocktail sometimes. That's what it feels like you need to. But AG1, Charlie, take care of it all.
That's the thing that I love the most. I've cleared out my cupboard. I've now just got AG1 packets on the shelves, and I love it. I have it every day. Nice glass of cold water, and it's really helped me with my gut health. That's something that I've sort of struggled with over the years, and so it's really improved me, that side of things. I feel like I've got a lot more energy, and I know it's been really beneficial for you as well, Jimmy.
Any athlete knows the benefit of micro habits, and this is one of those. You just get a small glass of nice cold water, 1 scoop of AG1. It seems like nothing, but over time, the effects build up, and you will feel the benefit, just like I did. My gut health was all over the place, and this is the best way to start. I started taking AG1. It's got all the key ingredients that you need: the vitamin C, the probiotics, the prebiotics, the zinc, everything that you think you need. The team at AG1 have formulated this supplement to take the stress out of it. All you need to do, the micro habit, every single day, and you will get the results later down the track. And as well, the best thing about it is, Charlie, tastes great too.
You're exactly right, Jimmy. It tastes delicious. And AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. And since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a smarter, better way to elevate your baseline health.
AG1 is a supplement I trust to provide the support my body needs on a daily basis, and that's why they've been a partner for so long. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. We've got an exclusive offer for Buy Round listeners. So if you want to try AG1, you get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs, which really do come in handy. You get those with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/buy round. That's drinkag1.com/buy round. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. I trust AG1. This is a product that I use each and every single day for around the last 18 months.
Moving on though, Jimmy, to Vegas.
Yes.
The launch is kind of sort of getting underway. The NRL's got a new ad in Vegas that has apparently caused a bit of stir in the AFL NRL beef.
Yeah. Australia's biggest sport.
Yes.
Unleashed in Vegas. Now, yes, this has caused a stir in AFL in the AFL world, but I don't think these complaints are just for social media and shock jocks. I can't envisage trading standards stepping in. Australia's biggest sport. I mean, for some it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I get the AFL's argument, but this is an advertising campaign trying to get people in, and that's what they're going to do. But I can't. What are you going to do about it? Like,
yeah. It wouldn't be as good an ad, would it be, for Australia's third biggest sport?
Yeah. Like, you know.
Okay,
and
cool.
and a heap of advertising agencies make these.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like subjective claims.
Of course, yeah.
And-
Even podcasts do it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, with we could say we're the number one NRL podcast. Number one by what ranking? Our ranking. Our listeners' ranking.
Voted NRL, but like voted by who? It's like the old. Have you seen
Radio does it all the time as well.
Yeah,
their ratings.
Have you seen the movie Elf with Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
And he's like, he goes into that cafe and it's got like world's best cafe, or world's best coffee,
yeah.
And he's like, congratulations. It's like,
yeah, burger shops do it all the time.
Yeah.
You go like you're in a random country town, it'll be like, oh, Australia's greatest burger.
Yeah.
You're like, well, who?
You know what? I was down at Cronulla, famous fish and chips.
Yeah.
Famous? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like all over the front page, back page. Like, it's not famous.
No.
You know?
Yeah. But good news.
Look, at the end of the day, the NRL are going there. It's clearly quiet time for people to be getting up in arms about this, or even acknowledging a response to the NRL. The NRL is a big sport here in Australia.
Good news, 13,000 tickets sold as well for Vegas.
Fantastic.
And
that is fantastic.
Still trying to figure out our tickets to get over there as well.
Yes.
Got to figure out a plan of attack there.
Yes, you do.
Fingers crossed, Triple M. That's going to be hopefully the way of getting over there.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think, like, I've been to Vegas a heap of times. This is a work trip. So
why are you saying this is a work trip with a twinkle in your eye, as if it's the opposite of a work trip?
Because what I think some people are failing to remember is the fact that would finish. I think there's a game the Sunday afternoon, so you'd leave the Sunday evening if possible.
Is that what you'd want to do if possible?
But you're not going to get back until the sort of Tuesday.
Yeah, we go back, don't we? Though coming back.
No.
Oh no, we go forward.
No, you miss a full day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you basically from leaving Las Vegas, it's 36 hours in front. So if you were to leave the Sunday evening, Monday, it's like Tuesday midday. We've got buy round stuff to be recorded.
Yeah, we do. But we could maybe box some stuff off there in Vegas. Sort of pre-record a Vegas diary of sorts.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's the beauty of podcasts.
It's exciting for the NRL.
Yeah.
I think this is a great initiative, and this Vegas market is it's got a lot of potential.
A couple other things then before we get to the international stuff. Webster's signed an extension till the end of 2024. Great news for the Warriors.
Till the end of 2024.
To the end of 2028.
Yeah, that's awesome news for him. He deserves it as well. What a coach. What an impact he's had. And you know what? Really interested to see on how the Warriors go under this, like the second season under him. Then they've got to also manage. I know that they've said some things about Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, but they've got to manage how he fits in with Chancellor Hood-Cluxter as well. So this is a new headache for the coach.
I don't know why, but I'm a bit cynical on the Warriors next year. And I was a bit cynical on them all year, to be honest. I just don't know if I can see them
replicating what they've done.
I think there's going to be a lot of teams that improve next year and that make some noise. I think Parramatta will be better. I think the Rabbitohs will be better.
Roosters.
I think there's going to be a lot more of that sort of cream of the crop that rise.
Yeah.
And I think the Warriors could slide out. They could maybe even slide out of the top 8.
Well, probably the biggest question is, can Sean Johnson replicate the form that he showed this season into next season? Like, can he do that again?
And there was no signs of his body slowing down or anything like that. So you'd assume he can, but
it is bloody hard to replicate that at the age that he's at.
Yeah.
Like, it would have taken an almighty effort for him to produce what he did on the field. And it's not easy to keep doing that. And then he's another year, another year older. And it's not like he's gaining experience at 23, 24. You're like, oh, he's going to go to another level. It's can he keep at that level?
And the other thing about Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is people need to remember he's 30, turning 31. So he's not, and his game was all about the explosive athlete he was. So you'd have to think it's not like they're getting peak Roger Tuivasa-Sheck coming back.
Yeah.
You'd expect that he's going to be a little bit, past it's not the right word, but like he's not going to be that same explosive level, I don't think.
No.
I could be wrong. He could be
Probably
amazing.
Probably not.
What are you thinking then? They think they'll go all right next year, Warriors?
I reckon they'll be out of the top 4.
Yeah. But in the top 8.
We'll see.
I love it with Jimmy in predictions. He refuses to really say anything.
But the thing is, I've never been a massive fan of top 8 predictions.
Yeah, but you have to sort of do it. You
Yeah,
got your top.
kind
You
of-
know, we
kind of
didn't
the
reflect
job.
on your top 8 this
No,
year.
because we don't want
But
to.
you were miles off.
Thanks.
Miles off. Didn't even
Miles
have the
off.
Broncos in your top 8.
Yeah. all
And
right.
at the time of when you said, I was like, oh, you don't have the Broncos in there? Because I was aware. I was like, absolute contender.
Oh, yeah.
Your doggies, though, Jimmy, you had them in the top 8.
I know I did, yeah.
Wrong. They did well, though. They'll be good next year, surely.
Hopefully. Hopefully they're planning to be.
They're going to not have Carl Olapau for a fair chunk of the season. It looks like neck surgery, which always sounds very scary. 18-year-old. They don't know exactly how much time he's going to miss, but because, I mean, really, I was reading an injury like this, traditionally it'd be about 6 months.
But the neck injury stuff is so frightening.
Such a young age as well, 18.
Yeah. But this is the type of setback that many footballers go through, many people go through, many athletes go through. And he's got some good people around him there. And look, life and careers don't always go according to plan. The plan would have been I imagine he would have been banging down the door of a regular first grade spot this season, but injury has intervened. The Dogs didn't have much luck with their injuries and with the injury gods last season. It's not started ideally, but yeah, hopefully you wish Carl all the best in his surgery and that he comes out the other end and gets on that road to recovery.
Well, moving on to international footy then, Jimmy. And
before with international footy, what about the performance of Mikey Lewis?
Oh, wow.
The England 5'8". He was incredible. He was tearing Tonga to shreds. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know much about this kid going into this game.
Plays for Hull, does he?
Hull KR.
Yeah.
Watched him, I was like blown away, stepping, creating line breaks all by himself. And then the interview after the game, I was just like, yes, yes. Like, how good's that to see, like, passion, emotion, like, when Sean Wayne would have made that call, you're like, oh, you get emotional, but for him to, like, to speak and just his voice starting to break and the tears, you could just see what it means to him. Like, is that not what international football is all about? We see it, when the national anthems or the, some of the pre-game rituals happen, that players get very emotional, physically emotional, or very, that those tears start to run down the face because of, you know, the country and the people that they're representing. But for him to be choking, I was like, mate, that's one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
So well spoken.
Yeah.
He spoke so well. Like for such a young guy as well.
22 and to be like choking up. You know, he's going on national TV in England. Like, what a performance! And I was like, oh man, I was so happy, and I think it was a really good test match. You know, I read or heard the comments after the game from Fanua Blake. He didn't feel like, what did he say? I don't feel like they beat us. That they lost the game. Like, I get where he's coming from, but look, Starford Toas try. That video referee, like, did you see the obstruction? The Tongan player ran to so a couple of things, ran to the outside shoulder. Yeah, there was of the half. Yeah, there was a bad read from the centre that came in, but he's ran to the outside shoulder of the halfback, which you cannot do. Hopawate, I think it was, caught the ball on the inside of the lead runner, which you cannot do. I was like, they're not going to give this. Like, if they say no try, that's obstruction. Christian Wolf in the coach's box goes, yeah, no problem. It was bizarre. The referee did miss a couple of other things as well. The Elliot Whitehead, it went both ways. But that try in particular, I was like, no.
You worry how with the video ref they can even make those mistakes.
It was bizarre.
Yeah.
But congratulations to England. They got a couple missing for the next game. So Dom Young has been ruled out with this hospitalisation. Sounds pretty scary what's happened to Dom Young.
I think I was reading he's going to be okay, but he's hospitalised.
Yeah, but he was hospitalised, like from...
What was the exact wording of it? Let me just check that.
It was like a cyst or something that was starting to internally bleed, or like, I think it's one of those where you're thankful you're in camp, because if
a sinus infection, and he got bad headaches flying over. That's fucking bizarre.
That's one of them where you're really happy that you're in camp and you've got that on-call doctor. Or like, I know Dr. Chris Brooks really well, and he's a fantastic operator. So when you're in the care of that, and you're like, you know, if you go on holiday, let's have a couple of drinks, whatever. But thankfully that he was in camp. And then Morgan Knowles as well, who, what a player Morgan Knowles is. He's been ruled out with a thumb injury. So, and then obviously England captain George Williams is still suspended. But I think England will take a lot of confidence out of that victory against Tonga. Big thing, especially for those young lads on debut, or the young lads who are just starting out, that haven't played against NRL players, is belief, and they've got that belief.
One thing I did want to ask you about is your great mate, a guy who you hold very close to your heart, Jack Wellesby, first time ever captaining England, got the call up. How special was that?
Mate, he was the pass that he put on for Tommy Johnson. Anybody that saw that, like, what a ball! Absolutely nothing doing in the set of six. Ball gets to Wellesby, last play, and just pinpoint accuracy. One of the best passes I think you're ever likely to see. I was so proud of Jack to lead out the country of England. Something I've done myself, and I was so proud of him. He did so much for me. Every time I message him, I always say, as always, thanks for that in 2020, mate.
Yeah.
I was made up for Jack, and what a player. If the NRL clubs aren't already looking at him, St Helens, watch out, because he's a special player.
Then this weekend we got obviously Australia against New Zealand, Saturday night, 8 o'clock. It's going to be an epic game. Australia's sort of rotated a little bit. They've sort of brought in some players to, particularly in the middle. Tino and Payne Haas aren't playing. Liam Martin's out of the team. New Zealand pretty much full strength.
Yeah, well, New Zealand, they had the week off last week as well, so I understand why that they want to go at full strength, and that's Australia's prerogative, but still should be a great game. I mean, like, you look at some of the players that have come in. Nico Hines, how good's that? Flegler, Jakey Trbojevic back in. Like, these are, it's not like they're the quote-unquote second string, is it? Jesus Christ, there's some talented players there that are coming in. Delighted for Nico Hines as well, with the rep experience that he had, and that that last minute call to say, hey mate, I know you're on your holidays, but do you mind coming into camp? Good on him. I'm really pleased for him.
Which way do you think that's going to go? I think New Zealand might win this.
I think New Zealand will get the victory. Yeah, I do.
I kind of hope New Zealand win it as well.
But then they'll play each other again.
For the like title, quote unquote. Yeah. Jimmy, it's now time for our favourite part of the show.
Fan feelings.
Nothing more than
How do you feel?
And all thanks to Tooheys. How do you feel? I feel like a Tooheys or two.
Yes, I do.
Fan feelings, Jimmy. We popped it out on the Instagram as always. We've also received a few DMs during the week, so we'll get to those as well. Questions from the fans. They've got so many good ideas, and we're going to get to a few of them. And the first one, Jimmy, I want to get to you was a DM early in the week from Stuart Maguire. He's a big St. Helens fan, and he loves Jack Welsby. He obviously doesn't want to see him go to the NRL, but he is interested. If Jack Welsby does go to the NRL, does he play 1 or 6? He thinks he would be better at 6. He doesn't think fullback is his best position. What do you think?
Look, I reckon either or. I guess if he becomes available or says that he wants to come, each team go, well, do we need a 1 or do we need a 6? And they make it work with him. He has the positive thing about him. He's not that. He's only a fullback who's only a 5'8". He can do both and have a really positive impact on the game at either position. I love watching Jack Welsby play, and I think if you were to, obviously in defence you can see what position he plays, but if you were to watch that Tonga game back, you wouldn't know if he was playing 5'8" or fullback. You know, he's on ball, he attacks short sides. Yeah, he was playing fullback. Like some of his effort plays as well, like Hopewarte, his teammate who plays in the outside backs for St. Helens, sometimes plays a bit of fullback as well. Like, ball goes up and he's chasing down. That for me was a great sign from Jack, and that's one of those. They're big plays, and it's not like an NRL play or an NRL defensive mindset play, but you know what I'm getting to. Those are the little plays that coaches love to say that can make a huge difference.
How old was Jack when you were playing with him? How old was Jack?
I think he was like 20.
Is that like one of the best parts about footy is when you see like a young guy come through and you played with him, and then like 4 or 5 years later you see sort of the player they become, the man they become, and where they're at in their journey, and you're like, oh, this kid who just came on like probably was really quiet when they first got there, and
it is pretty cool actually. You get to see young players develop into young men. It's really cool. And Jack, like, just from spent half a season with them there at St. Helens, and just this laid back kid that was a bit whatever. And he played in the centres at the back end of that season with St. Helens, and he forced his way into the team. Like, couldn't get in front of Theo Farge at 7 or Johnny Lomax at 6, but they just, through injury, found a position in at the centres, and Christian Wolf just had no option but to pick him in the team. He was that good.
Thank you, Stuart Maguire, for that one. Ladanello Official on Instagram. NRL should adopt a soccer-style linesman as touch judges so they stay in one half only. What do you think about that?
No, can't do it. Won't work. Won't work. Well, you need. So imagine if it's the near side of the like, say where the players' benches are, and that touch judge is only up to the halfway of the side of the field where the action isn't happening, and then it's at the opposite end of the field, and it looks like there's a forward pass been thrown. Someone from the opposite end of the ground is supposed to help on calling that. No, they need the touch judges up with play. So unfortunately, that won't work.
I actually don't mind the idea of 4 linesmen, 2 on each side, 2 on. One on the attack, one on the defence, but 2-2. So 4.
This is a common misconception. I hate linesmen do not exist in rugby league. They're touch judges.
Yeah, touch judges, whatever.
No, not whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
No, it's not whatever.
Okay, 4 touch judges.
4 touch judges.
Yeah.
You like so that Charlie? No,
You don't want 4.
No.
That's because you're sort of a very capitalist man. You're like, oh, the NRL budget, we can't have that many referees. You're anti-spending money. You're all about the profits. You're a disgrace. Finally, then, Owen Davies.
I don't know how you grew that. You came to that conclusion.
That's just what I assume.
But
I know you're a Costa because I
it
see what you do around here with turning the lights off wherever you can, and you know if Tony's got the tap running a bit too long, I see you run over just in case the water prices go up.
Is this coming from the man that's lost the company car?
I haven't lost the company card. I've
Misplaced
the company card.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it is.
Yeah, well,
I called my girlfriend and I was like, have you seen this card anywhere? She's like, nah. And I'm like, ooh. Checked all the jacket pockets.
Yeah, you know what? You're just creating more work for me because I'll be the one that has to order the new
Because the
card.
issue is, Jimmy, I can't think
Find
about
it.
where it would be and I don't use a wallet. So it would have been loose in my pockets. So it could be in any number of pants.
If you find the buy round card, please don't.
Have we had any
overboards.
random transactions on it yet? Or no?
I don't believe so.
Accounts could be fleeced.
Yeah.
They can enjoy the $5.50 or whatever's in there. All right, Owen Davies has sent this one in. How many tea bags would you put in a standard sized teapot?
None. I wouldn't use a teapot.
Yeah. 1 bag per cup.
Cup. You just make it in a cup.
Yeah.
I don't really. I think it's the teapot. It's not just going out of fashion. It's dying a death.
What about when you go to a cafe and they give you a teapot? Do you enjoy that?
Look, I mean that's
Too
fine.
much tea in my
No,
opinion.
I mean I'm happy to take on the extra tea. Don't like it when they only put 1 bag in there. It's a bit,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you know the modern human being just cup, bag, boom, done. Don't need a teapot. It's sort of like intermediate process. That's just it's streamlining the event.
Yeah.
Like you're streamlining why take extra time to use a teapot. Yeah, you know people are going to argue and say, well, you might want a second cup. Go make one. Go make another tea. It's fine.
The obsession with tea is unusual, I find.
Why is that?
Because I was obviously recently come back from England. I reckon my grandma had 11 cups of tea.
Yeah, it's
It's like, what are
yeah.
you, like, England's weird. It's like, have you guys got nothing to do except drink tea? Like,
It's like that.
it's
like
so much milk being drunk as well. I'm like, fucking hell. How much milk
Scared
are
a
you...
bit dairy, are we, Charlie? Ooh,
It says the man who has almond milk. You have
Yeah.
almond milk, don't you?
in my coffee.
In your coffee, yeah. Not in your teas, though.
No.
I don't put any milk in my tea anyway, even if it's an English breakfast.
You know what I want to know? Why are you tracking other people's teas? Like
Oh,
you were there on holiday.
Yeah, well,
surely you enjoy yourself, embrace the culture, get out and about, and you're just there going, oh, I'm going to just put that one on the telly. On the tally. Oh yeah. Oh, how many is that you having?
Yeah.
How many teas are you having? Oh, I'll talk about this in the podcast. This is great content.
Well, in my defense, I was making the cups of tea. You know, I'm a giver. I'm like, oh, do you want a cup of tea? But then the
No,
cheek,
maybe
like, I've just made you one. We're not having a fucking another cup of tea.
Why?
Hey, if you want a cup of
They're
tea,
probably going.
get your Zimmer frame, walk to the kettle, and make your own tea.
They're probably going, fucking hell, we haven't seen Charlie for a while. He's there. We're just going to have to say yes.
Well,
Have you ever looked inwards? And be like, maybe I should stop asking.
Yeah, I think it's a thing English people just do to kill time because there's nothing to do in England, particularly in 99% of England, because really, there's London and then there's nothing else.
Oh, you fucking disgrace. I'm gonna fucking throw one of these Tooheys cans at your head in a minute. How do I feel? I feel like throwing one of these at your head. If you think that it's only London in the UK.
I reckon you want to live in London
Go
and
on,
then
piss off, Thatcher.
you don't want to live
Thatcher.
anywhere else.
Yeah, no, you piss off. Get to Liverpool, we'll show you a good time.
Yeah.
You
If
end
I don't
this
get stabbed
conversation now.
somewhere in Liverpool walking around or someone trying to sell me a bag of ketamine or something.
Oh, how many tea? Yeah, you count that. Can you believe it? In Liverpool, they only have 2 cups a day. Oh.
Well, that'll be a good sign of the city, maybe there's actually things to do there.
Yes.
So, yeah, the clue...
Sorry, go on.
You go. What are you going to say?
No, just like going back to the tea. Owen, I know who you are, but I just think teapot's a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah. It's a bit sort of like you're showing off.
No, you know what it was? It stems back from when it was actually loose tea leaves.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So the bag sort of like made the pot redundant. If that
They're
makes
like the
sense.
taxi industry. Uber's sort of made taxis a bit sort of.
No, not.
You can still use
just
them.
a different
You
service
can still use them.
provider.
You can still
Well,
hail them down the
still-
street, but it's a lot easier to just get your phone and book
Is
an
it?
Uber.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I think that's an incorrect analogy. It's not like that at
That's
all.
just 'cause I
sometimes
talk
there's
shit
room
about
for a
Liverpool,
taxi.
yeah.
Sometimes there's room for an Uber. They both serve a purpose. Different points, different methods of
Yeah,
transport
but
for different needs.
The taxi industry could have adapted and they could have taxi apps, but they didn't.
They do have
They
taxi.
felt they were
apps.
asleep at the wheel.
Not literally.
Well, in some cases they were.
Yeah.
The clue.
What was the clue again?
You got it correct.
Yes,
so
I
this is
did.
just for the listeners now.
Just for the
The
listeners.
head of the university is also a sailor, or something along the lines of that. I've not exactly like that, but it was along the lines of that. I'll check it.
Oh,
double.
good God. Good job you're going to check it.
Yeah, no, I was spot on. The head of the university is also a sailor. Thank you, Matthew Vorton, for that one.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Great man. So if you get that, Byron t-shirt coming your way.
No, not if you get it. That's it.
Oh yeah,
so-
not just if you get it. If you
Yeah.
get it and you're selected
Yeah,
to win
yeah.
it. One
'Cause
winner
that'd be
per
key.
week.
Otherwise, would be
Yeah.
I
I think some people don't realize that as well because like I'll always message, if someone gets, I'll straight away message and be like, congratulations, you got it right. But that doesn't mean you've won. But then they're like, oh, awesome. When do I get the tea? And everyone was saying, I'm like, ooh, well, I've actually someone else has got it. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Fun story for you.
That coupled with Charlie's grandma having 11 cups of tea a day. We
I've only been awake for an hour, even though it's 1 o'clock.
all right. Well, that just about wraps us up. We'll catch you next week on Midweek Matters.